How's it going, everyone? I am ND Sean 45.
And this is George Bashura, also known as the Bullpen Guy.
I like it. And this is the Two Irish Brothers Show. You guys know the drill. If you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe tab in the bottom right-hand corner. Make sure to hit the like or dislike tabs as well to help with the algorithm. And in the description box below will be the links for Irv Smith and Mr. Vince Rizzuto's travel packages, respectively. Make sure you guys check them out if you're looking for great game packages to go to. So anyway, this is a great bonus because Ben and I never have the chance to really do another video during the week, and I don't like to just do videos myself because it's the Two Irish Brothers Show, not the Lone Irish Brothers Show. So it wouldn't be right. I just don't feel it would be right to do that. So thank you, George, for joining me for this episode, Mr. Bullpen Guy.
We went to the bullpen. Call me QB2, whatever you want. It's great to be here, Sean. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, it's always a blast to have you on. So with that said, George, getting right into business here. It was a tough loss this past weekend to open the season for the Irish. Ben and I had already covered that on Sunday, and I think at this point everyone's probably still reeling from it, which I think it's understandable. But I tell you, man, just I know there were some things that you wanted to say, but I think it's important that we play this clip from Marcus Freeman first. What do you say?
Sure. Taken from the archives of Shakedown the Thunder Sports, courtesy of Fighting Irish Media.
Here we go.
All right. Again, as I was saying earlier, just not the result that we came here for. And there's no such thing as a moral victory. We didn't win. We didn't finish the game. We didn't execute. I think we found out we got a good football team. We got a tough, we got a football team. We got to learn how to finish. And that's ultimately what happened in the game. Battle for 2.5 quarters. And then they score one with 17 seconds before the third quarter, and then we don't respond, and they go in and score again in the fourth quarter. And that's the game. That's really the game. And that we didn't finish. We got to be able to finish when it matters the most, and that's ultimately what cost us. So we got a lot to learn from this game. The beauty of this thing is I just told the group in the locker room, we don't have to wait 245 days. We got 7 days for another opportunity. So we got to get back to work. I'll open up for questions.
Yeah, he is absolutely right. No such thing as a moral victory. That's what you play the game to win. Is I think it was Herm Edwards said very famously,
you play to win the game.
Exactly. So yeah, George, after that clip, what was it that you had on your mind that you wanted to talk about?
So
to address specifically.
So let's just get right to the meat. Let's get right to the meat of the discussion. First, a former coach would have said, well, we executed here, we executed there, we did well here, right? And this is where you separate the two coaches, okay? This is where you separate Freeman from Kelly. He's not a guy of moral victories. He has a very bad taste in his mouth. I think he wanted to win that game. As he said, that's not what they had intended to do. And there was a high expectation, not only from him, but also the fan base. And, he didn't duck behind it. He owned it. And that's what a good coach does. But at the same time, a fan base does not deserve to come out and just bash the players. They executed the best that they could, I believe, for what was going on and what was being called. But at the same time, when your possessions start inside the 20, I believe 4 out of 6 times, something like that, some crazy number, 6 out of 8 times, even the most experienced QB, never let mind, Mr. Buckner there, Tyler Buckner, it's not an easy thing to do.
Especially not when you're a first-time starting quarterback. I mean, any quarterback will tell you from top to bottom, it's not fun. It's certainly not easy starting when you're backed up against the wall.
And these folks that are just coming out and just slamming on everybody, go in there and do it yourself. Get up there, pad up, get on a field, or how about call Jack Swarbrick and say, hey Jack, I want Marcus Freeman's job.
Well, and George, I say this a million times, and I've been saying it nonstop, but until it stops, I'm going to keep saying it. It's not every single fan in our fan base. The fan base for the most part is a good fan base. They stand behind this team. They support them unconditionally. But unfortunately, it's the so-called realists, which I call the cancerous element of this fan base. They're the ones that are sticking out right now like a sore thumb. They are the nasty stain on our fan base, and it's destroying us. I mean, I've been reading, and I probably shouldn't be doing this. I really shouldn't, because it's been making me beyond angry. Very beyond angry. These people that say the same stupid crap over and over and over. The ones who there were so many that were writing this game off as a loss before it was even played. Well, I mean, you know the types of people I'm talking about, the ones who sell their tickets to the big home games, the ones who have no confidence in this team whatsoever, the ones who you told me about that took out an article in the South Bend Tribune calling the program a disgrace. It's like this cancerous element in our fan base, and I know every fan base has its problems, but what's going on in our fan base, I'm not seeing happening anywhere else.
Well, I'll tell you, as a writer, and I'll take it that perspective, because I've given up my fandom. I love to cover the Fighting Irish, but I'll talk about from the perspective of a writer. All that these folks are doing is pushing people out the door. They're the first ones that get upset when a player leaves or a player decommits. And we've talked about this, and I don't blame the folks. Why would I want to go out and give my heart to a fan base, give them all that I have, only to be shot down? And I'll give you a perfect example of this. Okay, Matt Salerno makes that circus catch.
Yeah.
Okay, magnificent catch. But what's the first thing people talk about? Is the offensive pass interference call late in the game. Folks, get over yourself. The catch that he made it was one of the two plays, and that was one of two plays that set the Irish up for that their only touchdown of the game. Okay?
Yeah.
Don't go hating on the guy. He's been with the team for 6 years. Okay? You can almost call him grandpa. He's a walk-on. Okay,
yes,
he has no scholarship. He's paying to play. And only thing that you can do, because I took backlash from this already from a tweet that I made earlier today, is the first thing that came back was, well, he had that pass interference call late in the game. If you're looking for negative, you're going to find it in the Irish base.
Well, I mean, ever since Saturday night, I mean, again, I shouldn't be reading this stuff. I shouldn't be looking at it, but it's just negativity all over the place. These people already calling the season a lost cause, and what also is just unbelievable too is how irrational some of these people are. And I hate saying this about anybody in our fan base. And for the record, everybody in the Notre Dame fan base that's watching this, if you are a true fan, then this doesn't apply to you.
Not at all.
But the people that are the so-called realists, in quotes, I've heard everything from them basically calling Tyler Buckner a bum to the offensive pass interference call, but specifically with Tyler Buckner, This is his first start in college. I mean, are you expecting him to be like Dan Marino or John Elway or Tom Brady or whoever? I mean, I swear to God, George, these people, it's just like a parent who has ridiculously high expectations for their kid that if they don't get an A+ on their tests, then they're going to get beat. That's what these people in the Irish fan base are like.
Sean, you know what the best part about this is? And this is where these people put themselves in this scenario. One, these were the folks that could not wait to get rid of Brian Kelly and Marcus Freeman to come in. Okay, one. Two, these are the same folks that were last year screaming for Tyler Buckner to be the starter. Okay, so you can't have your cake. You want to have your cake and eat it too, but sometimes it doesn't work out. And I'm not trying to be an apologist. I'm being it's being a realist is on the other side. Is that anyone can win, anyone can lose. Neither team played well yesterday, okay? And I'll be honest with you, Ohio State was only maybe one or two plays better than Notre Dame. If anything, you come out of this is a recipe of how to beat them. And you know what that is? A slow clock them, slow roll them. They don't like the slow roll.
No, they don't. And it's all I can say is results that you're looking for take time. I mean, everybody's expecting instant national championships, instant this, instant that. That's not how it works.
Well, when you look at the guy across the field, right, from Freeman, okay, they said his record was something like 35-4. Okay.
Yeah.
I saw
that.
That's great. Okay. But a lot of those guys weren't his guys. Those were other recruits that were brought in by other coaches when Ohio State was on a roll. Okay.
Yeah.
And the only reason why Ohio State's on a roll every year is look at the division they play in. It's horrible.
We just had a guy, George, while talking about all the conference realignment stuff, saying that you guys basically saying that we have a weak schedule by scheduling nothing but a bunch of military academies and a group of 5 teams. He's like, wouldn't you guys rather be playing Ohio State, Michigan State, Iowa, Minnesota, and all those teams every year? I'm like, well, listen, the Big Ten is a powerful brand, no question about it. But when you look at that conference from top to bottom, how many teams in that conference would you say are truly elite? Probably Ohio State and Michigan. That's it. I mean, I think you saw what Iowa did yesterday. They won 7-3 over South Dakota State, an FCS Division I team, 7-3. And not one single touchdown was scored in that game. Iowa got 2 safeties and a field goal. So in my response to that comment was a lot of those teams we would have no problem beating. Well, so that conference is not as strong as people may think it is.
Let's look at these 2 divisions, okay? Which conferences is this? This is
Big Ten.
The East Division.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Ten. You have Indiana University, University of Maryland, University of Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State, Penn State, and Rutgers. Okay? Formidable teams. Okay, they're solid on one side. But the other side of the coin, you got Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota, Nebraska, Northwestern, Purdue, and Wisconsin-Madison. Okay? Now, they play a tough schedule. But look who they only play within their division. Okay, they don't. It's very weird how they run this thing, but how they get there is just weird. And last year, no one wanted to talk about the losses that Ohio State had. Okay, Notre Dame had an opportunity. They played a good first half. I won't say they played a great first half. They played a good first half. but they just didn't finish.
Exactly
Okay?
as Coach Freeman said.
Ohio State figured out late in the third quarter what they had to do. Okay? They figured how to disrupt what the Irish were doing, and they just gave them bad field position. And let your defense, their offense didn't do that much. Their defense did all the work, just like Notre Dame's defense did all the work.
Yeah.
Plain simple.
And that's what the bottom line is, we're not trying to recap the game here,
Nope.
but the point that we're trying to get at is everybody in the Notre Dame fan base, all of you who are so negative, why don't you stop taking your stupid pills and actually be rational people for a change? I mean, but it's just ridiculous, George. I mean, so many fans in our fan base had no confidence coming into this game. They were expecting us to get blown out by 30 or 40 points. But I'm willing to bet they're probably still happy that we lost, just so they can be right and say it that we lost.
Well,
But
they're the ones that probably
you know.
they bet money. They probably, with the 17.5 points, they're the ones that probably took Ohio State with the 17.5 points. And guess what? They lost. They didn't cover the spread. Okay? So you could take this you could take the 17.5 points. If someone's going to give me 17.5 points and it's my team, I'm taking those points. Especially if they have a new mentality going on, there's a new mantra. I'm taking those points, and they have a much better, I'll say, at this point in time, I think a more football savvy head coach.
Yeah. And that, I'm glad you brought up the line, George, because this is something else that I noticed when I was watching the game on Friday night with everybody who I was. And I'm not saying this is a new thing or anything like that. But what really I'm starting to notice is that people care more about betting than they do about their team. Why is it that people can't just stop and just stop and be a fan and enjoy the game, cheer for your team?
Well, first of all, I'm going to tell you, I'm not a betting guy. I'll make little wagers of something like you guys do here on the show.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go to whatever.com or whatever Caesar's Palace online and place a wager. I'm not going to spend my money that way. As a writer, I think I believe that the team is geared up and ready to go. Okay, but for those that don't want to believe, if you don't want to believe in your team, go someplace else. It's that simple. Don't put yourself through the aggravation. I wrote an article years ago, Sean. It was called "You Got to Have Faith." Okay, so if you don't have faith in the team, and all you're going to do is complain when they lose, which isn't all that often. Granted, they struggle in some of these. They struggle sometimes in these big games, but you got to look at each one individually.
Yeah.
And each one individually is completely different. Blaming Freeman for losing in the New Year's Six Bowl, can't do it. The guy was put in a situation where he had to take on the team, okay? And then game one. Do you think he really wanted to go in and lose game one? Do you think Al Golden wanted to go in there and lose game one? Do you
No.
think Tommy Rees? No, they don't. These folks have winning backgrounds. Al Golden won the he didn't win the Super Bowl. Did he win the Super Bowl? The Bengals? No. He was with the Bengals. Bengals did not win the Super Bowl.
No, they came close last year.
But he took a team to the Super. He took men and put them in the Super Bowl that hadn't been there before. Okay, he's bringing an NFL-style defense to this team, which you're having college kids learn a professional defense. They came a long way in a short period of time. But yet there's folks that are just criticizing
Well, we've had guys, and I've seen the comments to prove it. We had guys calling Freeman a bum even before he played the Fiesta Bowl. And it's like, what is wrong with you people? I mean, this. Are you not going to give a guy a chance to coach a game first before you criticize him? I mean, I think any new coach, you give him a few years, at least 3 years before you start the true criticism. But no, we've got so many fans in our fan base that are this irrational and this stupid. And it's like I tell them all the time. I mean, the stupidity that Ben and I have been dealing with out of these people from mostly like the Facebook groups and whatnot. I mean, that's where brain cells go to die.
Well, you know what I was tempted to do today? Well, I should say on Sunday, I was tempted to go out and tell some folks, hey, if you don't like this group, Shakedown and Thunder Sports will be more than happy to take you in, because that stuff's not allowed.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. Same thing with the two Irish brothers. Same exact thing. It's not allowed.
Because when you use the example, George, of the word realist earlier, you used it the correct way. You were saying, hey, this is going to take some time. What you said about comparing the two coaches and the experience and whatnot. Yeah, that's a realistic fact right there. That's appropriate term of the word. When these Notre Dame fans who call themselves realists, that definition is just basically saying I'm a fair weather crappy fan who is arrogant, thinks I know everything, and has no confidence in the team whatsoever. And that's what I don't get. If you don't think this team has any chance to win or go all the way or do good things, then why are you watching them? Why are you following them?
Why do you put your money into them?
Yes,
Because
that too.
The first thing you go out and you're crying about is, hey Freeman, you're making X amount of dollars, and I deserved, and we as fans don't deserve that. Let me get the quote correct, because I was floored. I was floored when I saw it.
Well, while you're looking that up, I just have one quick thing to say. Like these
Sure.
so-called realists that I just described, I mean, they are no different than the people who think that the world owes them something. And we've talked about this before, George.
Yes, we have.
Nobody, not even you and I as fans. I mean, I know you're doing this video from a journalist perspective,
Yep.
but nobody, the quote realist fan or the true fans like us, we are not entitled to anything when it comes to, these kids winning national championships. I mean, yeah, we are fans who support the team, but overall in the end, these kids and coaches, they're winning the national championships for them and the university.
Yeah.
We're not entitled to it. Celebrate it, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm getting bashed as we speak, by the way. It's actually kind of funny.
Expose them. Go ahead and expose them.
So I'm going to go with the quote first.
All right.
This is what this guy wrote, okay? Hey, Coach Marcus, you made $416,666 mistake today, because that's what we pay you for each game. Most fans make less than 10% of that per year. Are you ashamed of yourself yet? Are you kidding me? Are you absolutely kidding me?
One freaking game, people are saying this crap. This is everything. That statement right there explains everything that is wrong with our fan base and describes the cancerous element that is in it. You want to give the guy's name if you want. Go ahead.
I'll leave. I won't do that. It's just ludicrous. So,
see, I made the promise to Ben that I wouldn't expose people individually, but you never did. So hey, go ahead.
Here's the other part. So I'm an admin on a page, okay? And I go into the page and I can't believe what I'm hearing coming from the admins of this page. I say I'm not surprised by the behavior of some of these responses. And the original guy, Mark and Stacy, they both have passed away. Mark passed away first, and then Stacy passed a couple of years later. Both were kind of all of a sudden. I said that they would be very upset. So let's see the response that I just got from one of the moderators of the page. With all due respect, I don't agree with that statement. I didn't know Mark, but I knew Stacy very well. She was passionate as a fan than anyone on this platform. I don't think she would have cared about people expressing their disappointments and feelings about the game as long as it wasn't expletive or verbally abusive and disrespectful to other members of the page. To lose a game that was winnable was very disappointing, and diehard fans have a right to disappointment, to express their disappointment, considering it's been 30 years since we've been a consistent top-tier team.
Well, let me just say this. Fans have a right to be disappointed about losing, yes, but to be irrational and be stupid and be just absolutely disgusting human beings, no, they don't have a right to do that.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
what I've seen a lot of. I mean, I'm not kidding, George. When I say that, I mean it. These people that do this, they are nothing but disgusting human beings. They're pieces of trash. And maybe I shouldn't say this, but I'm not joking when I say this. I genuinely hate those people. I mean, everything I've read from these people, these types of people in the comment sections on different pages, it's just to know them is to hate them. That's the stuff that is destroying this fan base. That's the real reason why other fan bases laugh at us, is not because of the product on the field. It's because of how our fans act.
And
the negative ones I'm talking about.
Yep.
If I'm not talking about everybody. So
Yep.
if you don't do this, it doesn't apply to you. I'm talking about the negative people, the people that Ben and I have exposed on this page.
Well, what it comes down to is folks that do this are just not comfortable with themselves, and it's a point of deflection. And if they have an opportunity, they're going to take advantage of it, and that's exactly what's happening. It's disgusting. I actually pondered leaving this page. I like to put my content there. I think it's a good group of folks, but it's unfortunate that moderators that think that they can go and do these types of things and don't feel like they're touchable and feel like they're untouchable is just a double standard.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So,
and with what all we've been talking about here in this video and what we've talked about before doing this video, that I made it clear, until I see changes, I will keep saying this. I will keep calling people out. I mean, when we were watching the game, one of my family members, I was talking to them about this, about all the crap that we've seen in the Notre Dame fan base, like the Georgia game where people sell their tickets and half the stadium gets taken over, and how they talk and this and that. And my family member says to me, Sean, just get over it. Do you think it was really the fans that cost us the Georgia game? I said, I'm not saying that cost us the game. I'm saying that look at what that does to our fan base. Look at how it makes us look. It makes us look like a joke. Because Georgia didn't do that. No other major. Did you see any Ohio State do that last night? I'm sure a lot of those fans could have made a bundle for selling to Notre Dame fans, but they didn't.
There was Notre Dame fans that bought tickets, I heard, and then sold them because they were afraid of going into Ohio State Stadium and having a problem.
I've heard stories, to be fair, but I don't think they would have had a problem. Not in this day and age. Well, maybe, who knows? But I just, that's the thing. I'm starting to think that, even like some of the people that I watch the game with, they don't care about the team as much as they used to. I mean, they're more concerned about making bets on the game than cheering for the team and stuff like that. But like I said, I told my family member the same thing. No, I'm not going to stay quiet about it. Not until this fan base changes. Will it ever change? I don't know. And I think even if we win a national championship, it still won't change. Because look what happens. Look at what's happening with what happened with when the Georgia Bulldogs won the national title. Because I have a couple Georgia fans. Stetson Bennett, their quarterback, he had a great season last year, and even they had a lot of their fans have been dogging him, no pun intended, all season long, calling him crap, calling him garbage, and his numbers were great. He then helps win them the national championship, and they're still dogging him.
Yeah, well.
But what were you going to say before?
No, I'm just saying it's just ridiculous. There's no place for it. I just don't get where these are people that they can't take criticism. Where these people think that they can get off and criticize like this when they wouldn't like this criticism pointed at them.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, George, I'm not going to say this, but I've noticed a pattern with some of these people that do that. But the old saying, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all.
Been there.
But No, I tell you, a part of me when I see this on the Facebook pages or a message board wherever, a part of me really hopes that it's a hater posing as a Notre Dame fan. That's what I hope for, but I've seen too many where these people really are Notre Dame fans. So
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't
the problem this becomes is it's just horrible, and I hate to put myself where I'm part of something and it doesn't go well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think that's where individual character stands on everything else.
Well, I'm in the same boat, George. Do you think I like calling out my own fan base? No, I hate it. I wish I didn't have to. But the reason I do, and maybe this is more me and not so much Ben, but Ben has my back. I know you have my back too, but I'm just saying we do this because there is no other Notre Dame show, whether it be here on YouTube or on the main pages or even in articles. Nobody else is talking about this.
No,
It seems like now, unless I'm not looking everywhere, if there's something I missed, if there's some show that I'm missing, please somebody send me the link. But no other Notre Dame YouTube show, no other Notre Dame content maker, or in the mainstream shows and articles, I'm not seeing anybody talk about this. And this is a problem that needs to be talked about because our fan base is in shambles. If you want to, maybe that's over exaggerating, but it's true.
I do remember I was going to say it's kind of what we talked about the last time. I kind of think of Red Sox fans when I think about what our fan base does. They're always there wanting to win. They're always talking it up when it's a win, but that doesn't even happen in the fan base with Notre Dame. But when they lose, boy, people jump off the bridge, and they just follow everybody else because everybody else is doing it. And I don't know. It's very weird. Um, I don't know if
I
I
know.
would want to. I like I said, I've written about it. I'm not sure if I would want to play for a university like that.
I mean, yeah. And when I look at other fan bases, I mean, there's a lot of big name programs who have been down in recent years, and they've been down for a while. And I'm not going to waste a lot of time naming all of them, but their fan bases are still sticking with them. Even they're not letting their stadium get taken over by the visiting team.
No,
I mean, they may be angry, they may be dogging the coach or the players, whoever, but they're standing by their team. Like I guess the best example I can give is Scott Frost from Nebraska.
oh,
I mean, okay, yeah, people are. I know Nebraska fans are pissed at what's going
that's
on there.
deserved.
Yeah, and well, that's beside the point. Yeah, he's screwing up, but the bottom line that I'm getting at is the people are still sticking by the team. They're not letting their stadium in Lincoln get taken over.
Yeah,
Or doing
no,
stuff
no.
like that.
I mean, they're criticized. I mean, the coach's history speaks for itself. Okay, there's a point in time where you could speak the obvious, and I think that's what they're doing. They're speaking the obvious.
And
Okay,
they're being fair. They've given him a few years to get things going there, and he hasn't done it. So that's the criticism is fair in that point. Yeah.
But it was also a self-proclaimed UCF national championship that
Right.
he's riding on the coattails of. And
Mm-hmm.
Freeman's only technically in game one.
Yeah. I mean that they're gonna put that Fiesta Bowl loss under him since he was the head coach and Kelly was gone. But
And it
let's
is.
face it, that was a Kelly team.
That was a team that was just like what's what I want what's the good analogy? A team that was on a high and they had the floor pulled out from underneath them. Okay.
Yeah.
Hard for you to get up for a game like that and after what your former head coach had done to you. Okay. It's tough. Let's be honest. It's tough. And I don't want to sound like an apologist. Okay. But Marcus Freeman, his job was this game one. It was execution all the way around. Okay, it's not one person to blame. Okay, But you got to just say, guys, I have faith in you, and I'm not going to try beating you to a pulp.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
when people do these things, they're no better than Finnenbaum, right? When he comes out and makes these comments about Notre Dame, but they're the first ones to disagree with it. You know, it's a it's a do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
I can say that I hate them, but you can't.
Yeah,
So
and look, and again, I think the best thing I can say is, look, to all you realists out there, if you're not going to stand by the team unconditionally and 100%, then get the hell out. Okay, us true fans don't want you here. We don't need you here. You are a disgrace and a cancer to this fan base. And to anybody else out there who has a YouTube channel or a show or whatever, start talking about this. I'm tired of being the only one.
well, let me tell you, the hard part is that there's so much other good stuff that happened in that game that it's completely overlooked.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, not that I want to give you another part of a recap, but John Sott, okay, 370 yards punting, unfortunately, okay. His long was 75 yards. No one's talking about his 75-yard punt, okay? He had 3 punts inside the 20-yard line, and he had 2 punts for 50-plus yards. Where's that credit for that guy? He
Yeah.
executed. He did his thing. But the only thing that they're going is looking at is the negative stuff. And it's like everything else, Sean. It happens to you at work. It happens to me at work, right?
Oh, yeah.
People forget the good that you do. Only thing that they do is remember the bad.
Yep.
And that's the
Exactly.
part that sticks. So he who lives in a glass house should not throw stones, right?
Right.
And these folks are the ones throwing stones. You know,
The question is, can they learn a lesson from it? I doubt it, but we'll see. I've seen stranger things happen.
folks won't learn from it. The team
No.
will. The team will,
Well,
because they believe in themselves, and that's what they need. But they also need the fan base that they're playing in front of to believe.
yeah.
In it.
And if you don't, and if your fan base doesn't believe in you, that's not going to give them confidence. So I can understand why, you have some guys at some schools or even in the pros that just play for themselves. They don't give a rat's behind about the team or about the fans. I'm sorry, the
Yeah,
fans, because the fans they don't deserve it when they act, especially when they do the things that they do like that. So
there's no place for it, Sean. There's just no place, and it makes me sick. It just starts happening. It was just I'm paying attention to the game, and I'm just sitting here rolling my eyes, knowing what's coming. There's one person that follows me on Twitter, and it's just funny. The person she makes this comment, never comments about good stuff, and makes a comment like the offensive line looks like they did last year. But this person doesn't make a comment about the positive plays, doesn't talk about the circus catch that Salerno makes.
yeah,
It's just funny. It's because you don't hear from these people, and then something negative happens, and they're the first to respond.
right, exactly. Well, George, I think that's a good place to wrap this up. I think we made our points here. And I have an unfortunate feeling this won't be the last time that we talk about this, because I'm sure there's going to be something even more stupid said by one of these realist ND fans down the road. And it's just sad where our fan base is right now, and because of this cancerous element that exists in it.
Just remember, Sean, these are the ones that wanted Kelly gone. They were excited that Freeman was here. Okay. And they all wanted Tyler Buckner to,
And
to
now they
be the
just
starting quarterback.
instantly turn on them.
It's oh no, I don't like this guy. Who's next?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, I hear you.
It's
You're right.
incredible.
So, yeah, with that said, I think everything's covered, George. And on that note, I am ND Sean 45.
And this is George Bashura, the bullpen guy.
And as we always say, good night, God bless, and go
Go
Irish.
Irish.